The most notorious serial killer in history has never been caught, and his identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. In the foggy streets of Victorian London, Jack the Ripper terrorized the Whitechapel district in 1888, brutally murdering at least 5 women before vanishing into the shadows of history. But new evidence and modern forensic techniques may finally be bringing us closer to the truth. The Ripper's reign of terror began on August 31st, 1888, with the murder of Mary Ann Nichols. Within just 10 weeks, 4 more women would fall victim to his savage attacks: Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Each victim was a prostitute, each killed with surgical precision, their bodies mutilated in increasingly horrific ways. What made the Ripper unique wasn't just his brutality, but his taunting of authorities. He sent letters to police and newspapers, including the infamous From Hell letter, accompanied by half a human kidney, allegedly from one of his victims. The killer seemed to revel in the panic he created, signing his letters with the name that would haunt London for generations: Jack the Ripper. For over 130 years, amateur sleuths and professional investigators have proposed more than 100 suspects. The list reads like a Victorian who's who, from royal surgeon Sir William Gull to painter Walter Sickert, from Prince Albert Victor to Lewis Carroll. But recent developments have narrowed the field considerably. In 2014, author Russell Edwards claimed to have definitively identified the Ripper as Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber living in Whitechapel. His evidence: DNA testing on a shawl allegedly found at the scene of Catherine Eddowes' murder. The shawl contained both blood and semen stains, and Edwards claimed the DNA matched descendants of both Eddowes and Kosminski. However, many experts questioned the chain of custody of the shawl and the testing methodology. But Kosminski wasn't a new suspect. Police at the time had him under surveillance, and he was committed to an asylum in 1891. Contemporary police notes described him as having strong homicidal tendencies and a hatred of women. What's new is the forensic evidence potentially linking him directly to the crimes. Another compelling theory emerged in 2015 when historian Hallie Rubenhold challenged the long-held belief that all the Ripper's victims were prostitutes. Her research revealed that only one, Mary Jane Kelly, was definitively a sex worker. The others were simply impoverished women, homeless or temporarily sleeping rough. This revelation changes our understanding of the killer's motive. Was he targeting prostitutes specifically, or vulnerable women in general? In 2019, a team of forensic linguists analyzed the letters attributed to Jack the Ripper using modern computational techniques. Their conclusion was startling. The infamous Dear Boss letter that first used the name Jack the Ripper was likely written by a journalist, not the killer. This suggests that the very name we know the killer by may have been a media invention. Perhaps the most intriguing recent development came from behavioral profiling experts at the FBI. Using the same techniques they apply to modern serial killers, they created a psychological profile of the Ripper. Their conclusion? He was likely a physically strong man in his late 20s to early 30s, living or working in Whitechapel, with anatomical knowledge but not necessarily medical training. He would have appeared normal, even respectable, to those who knew him. This profile aligns with several suspects, including Kosminski, but also with another compelling candidate, Charles Cross, also known as Charles Lechmere, a meat cart driver whose route took him through Whitechapel. Lechmere was the first person to discover the body of Mary Ann Nichols. Recent investigations have revealed that his testimony contained inconsistencies, and his work gave him both anatomical knowledge and access to sharp knives. What's particularly damning about the Lechmere theory is geographic profiling. When researchers mapped the locations of the murders against Lechmere's home and work route, they found a striking correlation. Each murder occurred at a time and place consistent with Lechmere's movements. Furthermore, his job transporting meat would explain the lack of blood on his clothes if he were stopped by police. But perhaps the most revolutionary approach comes from artificial intelligence. In 2023, researchers fed all available case documents, witness statements, and police reports into an AI system designed to identify patterns humans might miss. The AI flagged several overlooked connections, including potential links between the Ripper murders and other unsolved crimes in London and beyond. The AI analysis also suggested that certain aspects of the crimes indicated not one killer, but potentially 2 working in tandem, a theory that would explain some of the inconsistencies in witness descriptions and murder methods. DNA technology continues to advance as well. New techniques can now extract DNA from items that have been handled, not just those containing bodily fluids. Researchers are currently attempting to analyze preserved items from the crime scenes using these methods, hoping to find genetic material that could be compared against genealogical databases. What's clear is that the Jack the Ripper case remains as captivating today as it was in 1888. Each new technology brings us closer to solving the mystery, but also raises new questions. Was he Aaron Kosminski, Charles Lechmere, or someone else entirely? Was he a lone wolf or part of a team? Was he motivated by hatred of women, mental illness, or something else? The fog of Victorian London may have hidden Jack's identity for over a century, but modern science is slowly lifting that fog. With each new clue, each new analysis, we edge closer to finally putting a name to history's most infamous killer. The hunt for Jack the Ripper continues, and the truth may finally be within our grasp.